Well, it's 10 a.m. here in Jakarta, Indonesia. And speaking of Jakarta, Indonesia, I just want to kind of refresh your mind because you've been here before to Jakarta. And actually, this is not the first time that we meet. So back in 2018, you
Mm-hmm.
performed at We The Fest
Mm-hmm.
in Jakarta, Indonesia.
Oh, yeah.
And we shared this moment back then backstage. I don't know if you can see it. That's
Yes,
you.
I can see it. Wait, is
Yep.
that a
That
video?
was It's a video, yeah. That's
That's
when
so
you
funny.
met Han backstage.
I remember that.
So
Yes. And we had
yeah,
an
I was the
interview. You had
guy.
like,
Yeah.
okay, well, good to
I was
connect
the
again.
guy who
Good
was
to
in
see
charge of
you.
all the media interviews backstage. So that was the moment when you and Han interacted. Because your interview was happening at the same time as their interview. Like the
Yeah.
rooms were
And then
like next to
we
each
yelled at
other.
each other. I was like, stop talking, guys. They're like, no, you stop talking. And no, they're good friends. So it was really good to see them
Yeah.
and nice to see you again.
Yeah, yeah, nice to see you again. And we're also excited for your upcoming second studio album. Wow. There
Yeah.
and Back Again, which is gonna be out this Friday. So how do you feel, man?
Honestly, I'm so excited to finally get this out into the world. It
Mm-hmm.
has been a long process getting this to finally be out January 7th.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like that's some like tattooed somewhere on my body and in my head at this point, and all across
Mm-hmm.
social media. But I'm really excited because it's a very significant album to me for a number of reasons, but also because very honestly, like I feel like I've been working on this for such a long time. It's like when you have too much time to work on something at school and you're like, I just need to turn it in. Like, please just grade this, teacher. Like that's kind of how I feel. And with music, I feel like I get excited about my songs because I like my songs and I want to share them with my fans and listeners and see how they react and see how it touches them and they give it a life of its own. So that's what I'm really excited to see. And so hopefully we could talk more about that in detail and have a good conversation here today.
For sure, for sure. So, before we get into the album, you've performed across Southeast Asia, Jakarta, Kuala Lumpur, Singapore, Bangkok, Manila, and more. Tell us the fondest memory that you have during your time here on this side of the world.
I mean, I feel like it's every city, every country that I've visited has been so different. So it's hard to say like this is one favorite moment. But I think what's really cool
Mm-hmm.
about that region of the world is that everybody is so close, and there are
Mm-hmm.
similarities, oftentimes in terms of more climate. But then every country has its own rich
Mm-hmm.
culture and history and food, and it's such a great mix of different cultures that's why I think I just love going. And I've been very lucky
Mm-hmm.
to have been able to visit for, to shoot TV shows or do concerts or tours and festivals. And um, it's just a lot of fun getting to see fans from all over the region. But also, the food is so good. Sheesh. Like, it's
Mm,
so good.
the
And so
food.
I just I've been, as I'm here, it's been pretty cold the past few days. I was like, man, I literally said this the other day to a friend. I was like, I can't wait to travel back to Southeast Asia because A, the weather's great, also the food's great, and the people are amazing. And so I think there's just a lot of different great memories. And hopefully we can all see each other very soon.
For sure, that's the dream. That's the dream for all of us to be in the same space as you, where you perform your new materials from your new album. So, your first ever studio album, which was released in 2019, before we begin. It's called Before We Begin, and now fast forward to 2022, your second ever studio album, There and Back Again. So, tell us, like how when did you start gathering materials for this album, and how was the process like?
Yeah. So I started writing for this album probably about a year ago, February of 2021. How
Mm-hmm.
are we in 2022? Sheesh, time flies. But I think
It does.
I was actually here in this house, my parents' house, and I was like, I should
Mhm.
probably start writing an album. Um, and this is where it kind of started. It was over Zoom. You know, people were still, I wasn't seeing anybody, so everything was through Zoom, which is really difficult And it it was hard, but then I ended up going to LA for a few times to meet with some producers and writers, and that's when I started to really get into it. And so once we were all vaccinated and we all felt safe, we kind of got back into the studio. The interesting thing about this album was that I had a really hard time trying to figure out what is the direction that I want to go with in terms of my sound, because
Mm-hmm.
um, I like to think that every album or every song should challenge what I've already created. How do we upgrade it? How do we
Mm-hmm.
explore different sounds and different instruments and different vocal styles? And so we had this period where I was like, maybe we do pop punk. And
Ooh.
no, it didn't work. You guys, it did not work. You're welcome that it's not coming out. We tried to write like 6, 7, 8 songs that were like pop punk, and I was like,
No.
I can't do this. I'm not that angsty. I don't have like, I don't have this teenage angst to like scream into a mic and ruin my vocal cords. So I was a little upset because I like to think I could pull off a lot of different genres, but I was like, this is not it. Let's go back to what I really love and enjoy. And that's, I think, pop. And so taking it from a very straightforward pop angle, but going with it from a little left leaning of, all right, what are some more interesting styles? What are some more interesting instruments? What are some things that we haven't tried? And let's really take the time to figure it out. So this was the longest writing process that I've ever had for any music project in my entire career. Coming from K-pop, I feel like it's always been, hey, you have 5 days, put together an EP, and it literally, I've written 8 songs in a matter of 5 days, and we pick four, and that's
Wow.
an EP. So it's been a very long process, which is why I think I'm so
Mm-hmm.
antsy and eager to get it out into the world.
Wow. So all in all, it took you a year to actually record, write, and produce this album.
Yeah, I think from, inception to being here this Friday, just about almost here, 11 months, I'd say. But, it's
Wow.
exciting because I think it's also like, as much as it took a long time, I'd say it's also potentially the most mature album that I've put together to date. And I think that's sonically, I think it's in terms of the approach, and everybody that I've played it for, they're like, this is great, but it's very like, it's a step up, which is great for me to hear
Mm-hmm.
because that's kind of what I was really hoping for.
And also, this is your first ever album as an independent artist. Is that correct?
Yes, it is. It's
Oh,
true.
so tell us more about that.
Look, being
How
independent,
excited? What? How excited? For you? How is I? Sorry. How excited was it for you to actually, produce and write your own album as an independent artist?
it's honestly like, I think when it comes to writing, I'm always trying to beat the other songs and like write a better song, and that will never change, and that hasn't changed. I think what is kind of different is that it's a lot more work for me. um, it's a lot of it's. I think it's as equally liberating and freeing and like um, fun as it is terrifying, to be very honest. Because
Mhm.
when you're coming from, you know, the big system or a big label where you don't have to think about all the legal documents and all the
Right.
accounting things and all the small little details of how does shipping affect, how does supply chain affect getting light sticks and albums out to work like fans across the world, and then exchange rates and all. So it's so many things that I did not have to think about or consider prior, that
Mhm.
now I have to make the decision on, and also be aware of finances. And so outside of being a musician and writing and directing and producing, it's like all the business part of it. So it's not something that I shy away from, but it
Mhm.
is like another level of added stress, which makes it even more, I guess, to be honest, stressful. But
Mhm.
again, it comes with this thing of me being able to say, oh, well, I'm independent. I can kind of do what I want for as much as I think is appropriate. And so it's been a learning process. And
Mhm.
I'm sure it'll get easier as the other singles and albums come together, right? Tell me it's gonna get easier. It's gonna get easier, right?
It's gonna get easier, I'm sure. I mean, like, well, everything starts roughly for everything in the world, I'm sure. So it's you're gonna get the hang of it, I'm sure. But at
Yeah.
least you're gonna get that gratifying, feeling knowing that you're in charge of every single thing, like even the tiniest bit, right? So,
Mm,
yeah.
exactly, exactly.
So, you released your first ever single back in 2013. So, how do you think your music and your approach on creating music have evolved over the years?
I mean, significantly, if we're thinking about 2013, that was my first EP. That was January 23rd, 2013. I remember that. I will never forget
Mm-hmm.
that date. Um, and I mean, obviously, it's changed a lot because back then, like, I didn't really have a say in what I was doing or what I was singing or what was going on. It was more of like, oh, he doesn't really speak Korean. He doesn't really get the language. Let's just make him sing this and run around in a field of snow. And I was like, but I don't know what I'm doing. Um, and so I don't think it was a period. I was just so excited to be a recording artist and to really have my own music and my own songs and to be pursuing a dream. So that was what was most enamoring to me. Um, there were songs that I liked more than the other on that first album. But when I think about that first song, even to this day, I get like a little bit of like, it's like a little baby child singing. It's like baby Yoda singing a song, but
Baby
he doesn't
Eric
know what
Nam.
he's, yeah. And that's how it feels. And so it's nothing, it's not a bad memory or anything. It's just like,
Mm-hmm.
it's when you're young, you do things and you're like, why did you do that?
Mm-hmm.
But it's because I had that moment that I'm here being able to do, and I appreciate what I'm doing now more than ever. So back then, I didn't really have creative control. I didn't really know what I was doing. I
Mm-hmm.
still remember like singing the lyrics, and I was like, I have no idea what this means. So like, well, your pronunciation's bad. You clearly don't know. It's fine. Whereas now it's like, oh, well, like I would like to think that I know what I'm doing with my music and the lyrics and the production and all that kind of stuff. So it's very different.
Wow. Wow. Yeah. I mean, great things take time, right? So, and we're glad that we're here in 2022 and getting ready for your upcoming album, There and Back Again. So, Grammy Award nominated hitmaker Rabbit is also involved in this album. So, tell me more about your collaboration with him in this album.
So Rabbit and he produced or he worked on every single song on this album. Um, and has become like one of my best friends. We started working together probably on the Honestly album which released 2018, and I think we met in 2017. So, 4 or 5 years we've been friends. We've been writing together, and it's weird when you get to LA and you start songwriting. Like we do songwriting sessions, and managers or A&Rs will be like, "Hey, you're gonna work with this producer and this writer, and you're gonna book it for 5 hours on Tuesday."
Mm-hmm.
And it's like speed dating. You walk in and everybody's like, "Hey, like, how's everybody? Where do you live? Where? Oh, the traffic was so bad on the blah blah blah, and like all that." It's like very awkward. And
Mm.
sometimes it clicks. Sometimes it's horrible, and you walk away with nothing that's salvageable. With Rabbit, the first song, I think he was like my first session in LA, and the first song that we did together was a song called "Don't Call Me," which was
Mm.
on that album. And since then, he's been working on almost all my albums, and he's been a great confidant and a friend of mine. And this time, he, I mean, I think I was very selective and very intentional in being like, I want to have a very cohesive album. I would like to do it with somebody that's very easy to work with, that understands me. And at the same time, I think the great thing is like Jason is from Hong Kong. So he too, as an Asian American, not Asian, as an Asian uh, man in his 20s, like there's things that we can understand and relate to that go beyond just like what typical music industry in the US is. And so I think there are like a lot of things that we understand about each other without having to say or explain things, and that in a creative environment is very conducive. So um, I think we've built a lot of trust, and a lot of that comes through and it shows in this album. And that's why I'm so excited for people to kind of hear it from beginning to end and go on this journey with me.
And there are 7 tracks in the album, right?
There are
Wow.
7 spanking brand new hot tracks on this album. Yeah.
Wow. We're all so excited to hear the whole album this Friday. So,
Thank you, Megan.
before the album drops, I noticed that there's actually a documentary video about the behind, the scenes of the making of the album that is set to premiere today, actually, today, our time in Asia here, at 6 p.m. Pacific time. So, how important is it for your fans to understand the process of creating a body of work that is your new album? Oh, hang on. Oh, you're on mute. Hang on.
Sorry, that was my bad. That was my
Oh,
bad.
it's
I had
okay.
to like move my chair and then I muted and then I was like, I can't unmute. Okay.
No worries. All good
Um,
here.
so it's in sorts of a album documentary. I don't think, to be very honest, like we don't get like super deep into every kind of thing, but I
Mhm.
wanted to document more than it being like this is an in-depth investigative journalism piece. I wanted to just document the process of me recording the songs, some of the conversations that are being had when the lyrics are being written, showing how we settled on a certain melody.
Mhm.
Because for me as a musician, me as somebody that is always contemplating what sounds better, what feels better, like watching other people work that out, watching other artists draw something, watching other people create something has always been fascinating to me. So I think it's easy for artists to be like, here's the final product, go listen to it, enjoy it, buy the album, but it lacks the depth of understanding in terms of these are the days that I spent, the hours and the months that I spent kind of hammering away at this. And so a lot of video of just me screaming into a mic, trying to hit a note. I
Mhm.
did not put the pop punk stuff in again for your sake,
No.
um, but you'll get a little bit of a glimpse of how every song on the album was kind of put together. Um, but it's exciting because I think I haven't been very active on YouTube. I think
Mhm.
it's been a lot of different moving pieces, so it's been hard to keep up with it. But hopefully, this is the start of a lot more content that kind of shows things behind the scenes of how things are created, how things happen on tour, or things that go beyond just the vanity, superficial kind of videos that um, we tend to traditionally put up.
Yeah. And when I saw the sneak peek videos, I just loved it, because like when you mentioned it's always amazing for people, for listeners to actually see a little bit of like the process. I mean, especially for me, when I think last year when Ariana Grande posted like a video of her in the studio layering like her background vocals for the some positions, I was just like,
Mm-hmm.
whoa, like,
Yeah.
the effort that she had to like do to like, reach that perfection. And for you yourself, in your sneak peek video, particularly when you were working on the song "I Don't Know You Anymore," I really, really love the moment when you finally found the song's hook, the video
Mm.
that you posted. So, are you the type of artist who comes up with the melody first before writing the lyrics, or the other way around?
So I used to always go melody first. That used to be the main way because it was just like, hey, give me a track or give me like this type of guitar or piano, and I just want to hum some stuff, and we'll see what catches on. But again, going back to building a really great relationship with producers and writers, it allows you to be a lot more open and vulnerable from the get go. So instead of me stumbling into a room and be like, is this person going to listen to my story and actually help me tell my story, or are they just trying to write a song and leave? I think that's like, I want to save the more meaningful things for the people that I trust and that I know can get the job done with me. Um, so in this case, a lot of the songs that we were doing, it was like, this is how I actually feel right now. This is what I'm going through. This is what I want to talk about. And we start having a conversation. And so I don't know you anymore. I think it started with like, they're like, well, how are you feeling? Like, what's going on? And I was like, let me tell you about this massive fight that I got into. I'm so mad, blah, 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 blah. Like, I wish I could just say, like, I don't know you anymore and just like cut him out of my life. And they were like,
Yeah.
oh, well, I think that's the song. I think it's I don't know you anymore. I was like, oh, yeah, let's try it. And like, that's kind of how a lot of the songwriting, it comes from our everyday conversation. And so um, it's once we had that like hook, that word, that phrase, we're like, let's start building a story around it. And then we just started to then it kind of goes in between. Like, what's embarrassing for me in that clip that you saw is like, when we're all writing, I just say the stupidest things. Like, there there was one lyric that I didn't put into the documentary because like, this is actually embarrassing, I can't do it. But it was like blah blah blah, you're a monster. And I was like, oh my God, I can't even like put that out. Like, it's just so like, I feel so childish. But at the same time, that's the emotion. And so
Right.
then we start cutting out. It's like, okay, how do we say you're a monster without
In a
saying you're a
different
monster?
way. Yeah.
Yeah. And then we just, so it's
Paraphrase
like,
it.
it takes hours for us to just kind of keep going back and forth, and we hum. And that's how we ended up on I Don't Know You Anymore.
Right, right. But I just love that. Wait, but was that the very moment when you found the hook in the clip?
I think so. I don't know. I don't remember. I think it might have been, but I remember I was like very proud of myself. I was like,
Right,
oh, I think
right.
I got it. I think,
Hmm.
hey, I think this is pretty good. Um, but it's always funny because if you hear in the background, there's like four of us in that room. Everybody's
Hmm.
working on something different. Like, we have
Yeah.
the loop going on in the back. I literally sat in front of this computer with my iPhone, just like recording and just like humming things. And
Hmm.
then somebody will sing something. I'm like, oh, I kind of like that, but it inspires another melody, which
Right.
inspires a different lyric. So it's really like in real time, just different
Hmm.
things flying across the room. But there's every like 5 or 10 minutes, I'm like, oh, I really like that. Oh, I really like that. And that's how we really pick and choose what we want to go with.
When you haven't really found the lyrics, are you the type of artist who would, okay, let me just sleep on it and work on it tomorrow? Or are you like the type of, okay, I have to like finish everything in one sit?
I like to finish it, just get it done. Because if it's sometimes, occasionally, there will be something where it's like, I can't get it today, but this is so good. I can't let it go. Like, I will finish this. That was any other
Mhm.
way. Any other way for me, I was like, I really like this. I think I'm obsessed with it, but I hated the second verse.
Mm,
And it was over Zoom. I don't like writing over Zoom. And
yeah.
when we're on Zoom, it's like, are you paying attention? I don't know if I'm paying attention. I'm gonna
Hmm.
go lay on my bed and you're gonna go eat a bagel and maybe we'll like, it's just really weird.
Hmm.
But the second verse, like, we ran out of time, and I was like, oh well, let's just like fill this in with something. And I kept listening to it. It's like, I don't like the second verse. So I was like, hey, I would love to get us on another call. But the thing is, like, they're like, oh, we're booked for 6 weeks. So for 6 weeks, I was like, oh, I need to change this. I need to. But by the time that session came around, I think we had figured out. I had figured out like the vibe that I wanted to change. We rewrote the second verse, and then that happens.
Hmm.
But that's a very rare occasion. Most of the other songs, it's like we have the majority, the lyrics, like most of the production done the first day, and then we'll go back and fine tune. Like, we'll change out this word, let's add a guitar, let's change the drums here. But that's kind of like I Don't Know You Anymore. We kind of finished that in a 5 hour session.
Wow. Wow. Always trust the process.
Mm-hmm.
So you're going back on the road for a
Yeah.
51-date world tour to support your brand new album. And the tour is set to visit North America, Europe, and the UK, and possibly more. And for the first time ever, you're going to be joined by a live band. So it must be really
Yes.
exciting to be back on stage performing, your new materials, especially after what we all went through these past 2 years. So how was the preparation like for this tour, for you and your whole team?
Well, we are still preparing. We go on tour in 20 days is the first show. And we're still preparing. I cannot speak. We're still preparing. I think it's been it's been weird because of like obviously COVID and all these different things that keep changing on us constantly. And so there's a lot of like uncertainty, but for all intents and purposes, as safely as possible, we're going to keep the shows going. Um, I think for all of our shows, for the majority of them, if you're not vaccinated, if you're not wearing masks, like we're just not doing it. And so
Mm.
those are like things that we have in place to at least ensure that it's as safe as possible as we know how. But outside of that, it's just I'm probably gonna cry. I'm gonna be very honest. I'm probably just gonna cry when I go on stage, and I think it's gonna be an emotional moment for a lot of people because for so long, oh my god, I'm getting like emotional talking about this. Um, for so long, I feel like this is what I love to do. This is what we love to do as people who love music, arts, and entertainment, to perform and to connect with people through music and performance. And to have that completely taken away for a couple years has been really tough. I think emotionally, career-wise, and just in every way. And so I'm super excited. I am taking a band on tour with me, so it's going to be a bigger production. It's going to be
Yes.
probably a little wilder. It's going to be, there's something about real instrumentation that hits different from a track, obviously. And so I'm really
For
excited
sure.
about that. And yeah, I really hope that I can do some shows in Southeast Asia. I know that we're all just waiting for everything to come back slowly.
Fingers crossed.
Yeah, I know. Well, we have like Australia, New Zealand, and that kind of stuff as well in July. So I'm hoping either after that or before that, if it allows. You know, we're working on it. We will hopefully, fingers crossed, everybody, we'll be able to do some shows
Woo.
there. Um, Also very exciting. I'm getting my own bus on tour this time, guys. I
Whoa,
know,
that's
I
massive.
know. It's like,
Wow.
okay. So let me explain. I've traditionally, like, I've had tour buses, but it's like 14, 15 people on one bus for like 2 to 3 months at a time. It's like very,
Mm-hmm.
like, I'm just in a bunk bed and it's just like, it's fine, but it's a lot of people. Um, and so for the first
Right.
time, we have, because of the band and more production, we have two buses. And I have like one of those buses where I get my own little room in the back. And I'm so excited about my little
Ooh,
room.
VIP.
I'm so excited about my little room. And so I don't even know if it's going to be a nice room, but I got my little room. And so I'm really excited about that. And it's going to be a good time. So um, I'm excited. Hopefully, I'll see you guys soon in person as well. And it's
Wow.
going to be a lot of fun.
Ooh, will it have your album visuals like on the side of the bus so that as it goes, people will be like, "Oh
You know what? I would
my god!"
love for that to happen. I'm just going to throw it out here. If there are any sponsors that want to go ahead and
Sponsors calling all sponsors.
sponsor my face on a bus, we have two buses, a lot of real estate going around the entire country and Europe, and we can promote whatever it is that you'd like: hot sauce, soda,
Chicken wings, whatever.
chicken wings, mothballs, clothes hangers. We have a lot.
Have
You
a lot
know,
of space. Yeah.
yeah.
So for the past 2.5 years, you've been doing the Dieback Show
Hmm.
podcast on Dive Studios, and recently you posted the show's last episode. For now, so how is the experience of hosting Dieback Show like, and how has it changed your relationship with your fans globally?
It's been really cool. I mean, I don't think I realized how many people listened to that show and how many people actually really enjoyed it. Because like when we started, it was literally me just like talking about just dumb things by myself into a mic. Like I was like, why? Like some weeks I'd be like, what am I talking about? I have
Mm-hmm.
no idea. But it was a commitment where I was like, I promise to be here to connect with fans around the world through a podcast, and they're there to connect with me the same way. And so I felt like we were able to build a really great community, a really great family, and I got to become a part of people's daily, weekly lives in a way that isn't through music or YouTube video. I have my favorite podcasts, and they accompany me when I'm driving or when I'm working out. which
Mhm.
is very rare, or when I'm doing errands. And so to have that is really cool, and to build that deeper connection has been really cool. And then also just in terms of, the artists that have come on, just a lot of people, a lot of artists, a lot of musicians, entrepreneurs, actors, whoever, who trusted me to have real conversation, meaningful conversation in a fun, different way, was really cool. So I'm gonna miss it, but I'm sure one day it'll make a comeback.
For sure, and we're gonna be waiting. And speaking of, the artists that have come onto the show, I love your episode where you interviewed Raisa, the Indonesian
Oh,
superstar, and I was pretty
thank
surprised
you.
that you have been following her music for quite some time. So, which other Southeast Asian artists do you also listen to?
Oh man, Raisa, Afghan. Is it Afghan or
Oh,
Afghan, or I don't know how to
Afghan.
pronounce. I like Afghan. Okay.
Hmm.
And then I met Agnes Mo. Was that oh my God, it's been
Oh.
2 years. Agnes Mo a few years ago. Um,
Hmm.
I'd say those were like probably the people that I most regularly kind of keep up with in terms of music. And then
Right.
there's like Nikki, and
Oh.
um there's so many. There's like, that's like the cool thing right now, being
Hmm.
here in the States, just seeing like the rise of global music, not just K-pop, I think just global music, and to see how um nationality, race, ethnicity, religion, really all of that has started to not matter. It's just about
Hmm.
listening to the stories of incredible people and incredible artists around the world, which has been such a fun wave to be on. um Really cool to see.
For sure, for sure. And by the way, can we expect more content as you tour around the world later on from your YouTube videos?
Yes. Yes. I'm still
Oh.
figuring it out exactly what I want to do. I mean,
Hmm.
typically we've done, wrap ups for every show and that kind of stuff. But I want to kind of dive into, I don't know, just more lifestyle vlog stuff as we're on the road. I don't know what that's going to look like yet. I'm
Hmm.
also considering, just taking my producers and writers on the road with me for the first time too, and just seeing like, what does it feel like to write an album on the road? I know people are like,
Oh.
yeah, people are like, but you haven't even released your album yet. It's like, yeah, I know, but we have to plan for the next one already. So it's one of those things where I think there'll be a lot of interesting content. I don't know what it's going to look like yet, but there will
Hmm.
be stuff on YouTube, so please subscribe, youtube.com/Eric Nam. Turn on your
There you
notifications.
go. There you go. Subscribe, people. All right. So I'm sure a lot of our media friends here are eager to ask a question or two to you, Eric. So now let's start the Q&A session. So feel free to raise your hand and turn on your mic once we've called up your name. So first thing first, I think we got Ayu here from Popbilla. Hi, Ayu. Can you please turn on your mic? Oh, hang on. Nicole, my lovely operator, could you please unmute Ayu Utami?
Yeah,
Oh, there you
got it.
go. Hi, Ayu.
Hi, guys.
Hello. Hey, how are you?
Hello, Eric. Hi, Kevin. Nice to
Hey.
meet you
Hi.
guys.
Likewise.
So, yeah, I'm Ayu from popbella.com. So my questions is quite a lot. So is this the longest time you spent writing on an album? Is it?
Yeah, it is. Definitely.
Okay. So is it because it released under your own labels for the first time, or you have more time during this pandemic, so you put a lot of thoughts into it?
I think it's more of, I wanted to make sure I got the sound right. I wanted to make sure that I got the
Okay.
music right. Um, you know, it is the first release as an independent artist, so I wanted to make sure that the music was representative of what I was capable of and what I wanted to put out into the world. And that took just a lot of time. And so, yeah, I think it's a little bit of both, but yeah, I just really wanted to get it right.
So is it under Dive Studios, your label?
No, it
No.
is just me. My label
What?
is me.
You, okay.
Yeah.
So if you want to write something about the label, so I'll just write you. Okay.
Yeah, so here's a funny story. Like technically the album is coming
Okay.
out. If you go on Spotify, if you look at the physical album, it says the Eric Nam Company. Okay.
Mhm.
And I'm going to be
Okay.
very honest. I did not want it to call the Eric Nam Company. All right.
Okay.
Some people people are like, what's like the first song came out and everybody on Twitter was like, the Eric Nam Company, what is that? And I was like, the Eric Nam Company, what is that? I didn't realize that it was gonna be put out like that. So I wanted to put together a really cool like label name, like something that's like meaningful and like super whatever. But I also am incredibly indecisive. And I'm also very like, I overthink so many things. And I was like, you know what? Like, and this is like the day before the song went out. I was like, oh, it's going out under Eric Nam Company. All right, whatever, we'll just change it. But then I was like, I can't even think of anything else. Like, I can't even update it. All these other songs are going to come out under the Eric Nam Company. I guess my label for now is called the Eric Nam Company.
Eric Nam
And the
Company.
only artist and the only employee and all that stuff is Eric Nam.
Is Eric Nam.
Okay. Thank you, Eric.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ayu. Next up, I think we got Glandy from Jawa Post. Hey, Glandy.
Hello, good morning, Kevin.
Hey,
Good
how
morning,
are you?
Eric. Yes,
Hi.
fine here. Okay, first of all, congratulations in advance for your second album release. So I have about two questions for you. So we can say that in your first album, you talk a lot about any stages of relationship from the encounter until the separation. So in this second album, what will you talk about? And musically, what can we expect beside the dance club vibes from Wildfire and country western vibe from any other way? And for the second question, what do you think is the biggest difference when you sing in Korean and when you sing in English beside the language difference? Thank you.
Got it. I'm just writing these down so I don't forget the questions because I have a horrible attention span. Well, thank you for the questions and thank you for being here. To tell you a little bit about the album, it's called There and Back Again. And There and Back Again is more of, I was trying to think about it. I don't exactly remember when I thought of it. I think I was in an Uber and I was like, oh, I wonder what I'm going to talk about, like blah, blah. And the phrase There and Back Again popped into my head and I really liked it. And the reason I liked it is because it, to me, feels like, and it sounds like it takes us on the journey of life. And it takes us on an emotional roller coaster. Because I think about the life that we live and the relationships that we have, the people that we meet, and just like the personal journeys that we're on. Like there are very, very high highs, very good moments, very incredible things. And then we also have very low lows. And to me, the highs feel like there and the lows feel like back. And it's, to me, I feel like I'm always on this personal roller coaster of like, I feel great. And then the next day I feel really bad. And it doesn't necessarily have to be anything, but like sometimes we just have those days or those moments or those reasons that we just don't feel good or we feel really great. And so that was kind of that. And then in terms of like the songs and all that kind of stuff, like there wasn't like a singular theme, like of this is a breakup album or this is an all about love album. And that's also, I think, kind of goes back to this up and down. Like we've been in quarantine and COVID times for the past 2 years. And I think I'm not the only one that feels like we're on this constant, like, I think we're gonna be okay. And then tomorrow, like, no, we're not gonna be okay. And they're like, oh my God, now there's the flu and like, just, it's constant, like up and down. And so I think it's kind of reflected in the title. It's reflected in the song as it has some love songs, it has some breakup songs, it has some things that are just like pondering about like, what if something happened a different way? What if something was better? What if something was worse? Like, so some people, if you look at it, you're gonna be like, oh my God, this can feel all over the place. But to me, it feels like life. It just feels like how we feel on a daily basis. And that's kind of the best way that I felt and that I knew how to put together a piece of work. And that is There and Back Again. So that's what it is. And then also when it comes to your second question about between Korean and English, I'd say like I personally feel a lot more comfortable singing, writing in English. because that is how, and that is what I grew up speaking, and that is how I grew up learning to write and having conversations. Korean, I feel like I got a lot better because I've, you know, been working in and out of Korea for the past 10 years or so. But it's still it doesn't come naturally to me. I have to really take the time to study and to fully understand what I'm saying, how I'm going to communicate it, and making sure, like, when I'm in a studio doing a Korean song, I am hypercritical to the point where the Korean native speakers in the room are like, you need to get over this pronunciation. It sounds great. And I was like, yeah, but like nan doesn't sound like nan. It sounds like nan. And they're like, you sound ridiculous. Move on. And so stuff like that, where it's a little bit more of a difficult process for me, if that makes sense. But thank you for the questions, and I hope that answers them.
Thank you, Glendy. Okay, next
Thank
up we got
you.
Honey
Yeah.
from Prambors, Indonesia's #1 hit music station. Honey.
Indonesia's #1 hit music station.
There you go. That's a liner right
DJ
there.
Honey.
Honey, feel free to unmute your mic. Oh, hang on. Nicole, my lovely operator, could you please? Oh, there you go.
Hi. Thank you, Kevin, for
Hello.
the introduction. Hi, Eric. How are you?
Good. How are you?
I'm good. Thank you. So my question is, you said in one interview that this album is a new era of yourself. And also Eddie here on chat room said this album is a Charizard. You know, it's an evolving. So what do you hope your fans take away from your new music? And the second question is, I love to collect records here. I got plenty of vinyls here. And do you got any plans to have your album released on vinyl? Thank you.
Yes, let me answer that second one first. I do. We haven't like placed the orders yet or anything. Everywhere that we've looked, they're like, oh, we're fully booked for the year. Apparently vinyls are incredibly high in demand, and so finding a place that can actually print them has been very difficult. But I've also been talking to, I don't know if it's going to happen for this album, but there's an artist, like a painter, that I really, really like, and we've become really good friends. And he was like, would you let me like design your album cover for a vinyl? And I was like, please. I would, yes. And so that got me thinking into like, okay, how can we, if we're going to do a vinyl, how can we make it something that's very special and not just a bigger version of the current album? So we've been kind of sprinting to get the physical just album out too. And so once we can breathe from tour prep and album prep, I think that's going to be the next thing. We're like, what should we do for vinyl? So it'll be a slower thing, but hopefully, yes.
Okay.
And when it comes to the music, I don't know. I just feel like when we were doing this album, I wanted sounds that are a lot more earthy, that felt very organic, that felt very like healthy. I don't know, like just felt solid and grounded. I think there was a time in my life musically where I just really loved and I really liked a lot of very EDM, synth heavy kind of sounds with big drops and that kind of stuff, which I still like to a certain degree, but it felt like moving up in terms of having more real instruments and having a lot more real sounds and not just processed through Ableton or, you know, whatever music program you create on. And so we went really guitar heavy on this one. And I think that's why I feel like it's necessary for us to have the live band on tour, because the type of style, the type of instrumentation that we have, it does feel elevated. I don't know how to explain that without sounding snobby, but it sounds more sophisticated and mature, I'll say it that way. And so that's been the best that I think I can do to explain it. I hope that when you hear it, you know what I'm talking about. I should also figure out how to explain this to people better, because this is not easy to explain. But But yes, it's a Charizard. It went from Charmander to Charmeleon to now Charizard,
And
and
then Mega
then I don't know.
Charizard.
Yes. So that's what it is. But thank you, honey.
Yes, thank you. So
Thank
I'm
you
really
so
looking forward for this Friday to listen to your album. Thank you.
Yes, thank you so much.
All right, next up we got Shahi from K Vibes. Hi, Shahi. Oh, I think she's frozen.
She is
Oh,
frozen.
she's here. Feel free to unmute your
She's
mic, Shahi.
muted.
Hi,
What's
good
up?
afternoon, Eric Nam. Hi, Kevin.
Hi.
I would like to say congratulations on your album. I'm very excited to hear it this Friday, Eric. My name is Shahi, and I have a question for you. So, as we all know, the TikTok trend is quite big right now, right? And you know, like one of your songs, the "I Don't Know You Anymore" got quite big also in TikTok, right? With people make TikTok to it. Do you expect to have any of your new upcoming songs to be the new internet phenomenon? As maybe people will make a dance choreography to it, or maybe something like "I Don't Know Anymore" or anything maybe.
I personally would love for that to happen. I don't know how to make that happen. And so that is, if somebody could tell me how to make that happen, I would do that yesterday. But I would love for that to happen. The main single for this album, for this upcoming release, is called "Lost on Me," and there's a line in there. The beginning of the hook goes, "Everything about you now is bittersweet," and so then I'm like, okay, there's the word bittersweet. Do I need to just sit there and eat lemons on TikTok and make that a trend? Like, I will do whatever you want me to do to make it trendy. Just, you gotta let me know. So
Maybe
there's
you should
that.
dance, Eric.
I should what?
Choreography to like dance to it. But, you know, people on TikTok, a lot of them are like dancing, right?
Yeah, I mean, I could, but like, how do I make a dance I don't know how to make a dance. It's always like this stuff, and I don't know how to do this very well. So it's like really hard. But
All right,
I mean,
I'll make
if
one for
somebody
you.
makes one, if you make one for me, I will do it. Okay?
Yeah.
If you make one for me, I will try my best to follow it. I honestly, like, I want those songs to go out there, and I want people to, if they're gonna do something, let me know, and I'll duet it, I'll stitch it, I'll do whatever, and
right.
it'll be a lot of fun. But there's that one. There's also like, there's another song called "Wildfire," and I was like, do I need to sit there and like burn a lighter? But then I was like, that's a fire hazard. I don't want to encourage kids to start fires. Like, that's really scary. Like, a lot of questions. So, but yes, I would love to do a TikTok something. If you have an idea, please send it my way. Tag me on TikTok. Let's get it done.
All right, nice. It will blow up, hopefully. So all of the world will listen to your songs. All right, thank you so much, Eric.
you.
Good luck on your tour. Stay safe and healthy. Hopefully, we can meet in Jakarta soon.
Thank
Yes,
you, Shahi.
thank you so much. Stay safe.
All right, so we got two more. So next up is Taskia Alia from Kompas.com.
Hello.
Hi, Taskia.
Hi, how are you?
Hi, thank you, Kevin. Hello, Eric. How are you?
I'm good. How are you? Thanks for making time to be
I'm
here.
good. Thank you. So, my questions is, what is your favorite track on this album, and which song that you really enjoy it making it? And
Ooh.
one
Oh,
more
no.
question is, it's still pandemic, you know, and you said that you make this album is for 1 year, right? And can you tell us more about the struggle you've been through when you made the lyrics or the songs? And which song that you put much effort? I mean, like, which song that you make it with the tears and blood? Thank you.
Wow.
Oh man, she's coming in with the easiest questions. Oh,
It's like picking
She-
your own favorite
oh
child,
my
right? You
gosh,
can't.
she's like, yeah. Do you like mom or dad better? Do you like your first puppy or your second puppy? Like, it's hard. Oh, this is really hard. I think sheesh. Oh my gosh.
Wait, okay, which song took the most time? Maybe that will make it easier.
Which song took the most time?
Most time it's 1 year, right? You made it.
Yeah. So Lost on Me, which is this next single probably took the most time.
Most time.
That's because like we went back and forth on mix. I think we got to version like 20 something of just like, hey, can you turn the guitar in my left ear down by 1 decibel and bring up the shakers in the right by half? Like we were so specific with it. It took so long. Like I thought I was gonna lose my mind. But we were so like maybe too detail oriented on some of these songs. And so it took a lot of blood, sweat, and tears. And that's, Lost on Me, also because it is like the last single. We were like, we have a little more time, more than I Don't Know You Anymore, and more than any other way. Let's just keep working on it. So I think that's probably what took the longest. Blood, sweat, and tears wise, like the actual writing process of this song was really hard, and this is called Admit, which is, I really, really love this song. It feels, it's like, it's a ballad. It kind of feels like, I don't know, Eddie keeps saying it's like Love Die Young 2.0, and I was like, I don't know if it's Love Die Young 2.0, but like, that's what he keeps insisting. And I'm like, maybe it's 3.0, I don't know. But it's myself, Sarah Barrios, who we did that song, Have We Met Before? And we also wrote I Miss You, I Don't Miss You. I Miss You, I Don't Miss You a few years back. So she's a great friend. Slim Dan, who wrote 3 of the songs on this album with me, and then Rabbit. And so it was like a great team to work with. And it was about more of like, we wanted to write a song that was like, wake up in the morning, but you're woken up because it's dead silent in your house and you're so alone and you feel completely, utterly lonely. And it was that kind of emotion that we really wanted to pull out in this song. So that was kind of the other song that took, on the day of, a really, really long time, because the lyrics in it were just very, very hard to get right. So that was that. And then I know you had some other questions, but like I was saying earlier, I have horrible memory. So could you please remind me of the other questions?
And which song that you really enjoy in making it? The song that you really enjoy it.
I think, they're all fun. I Don't Know You Anymore was fun because it just felt really big. Like it felt like, I don't know you anymore, boom. So I remember I kept saying, when that comes in, when I don't know you anymore, boom. I was like, I want to feel like I got punched in the face by instruments. Like I want to feel like somebody took a guitar and a bass and just punched me in the stomach, but I liked it. Like I don't condone violence, but this is musical aggression, and I really wanted to get that feeling. So we worked really hard, and we had a really fun time on that. I also really liked writing What If. Just the guitar and the bass and the synth that kind of goes on it. There's like this, and it feels very 80s, like kind of retro kind of vibe. And it's the one song I think that really stands apart as like stylistically. It's like, does it make sense for this song to be in the album? But I just like the song so much. I was like, this has to go on. So that was also a really, really fun one to write.
Okay. Thank you so much for the answers.
Yes, thank you. Thank you for the questions.
Taskia,
you get the prize for like the most difficult questions today. You made me think a lot.
All right, we got one last one. This one coming from Tiffany. Hi, Tiffany.
Hi, how are you?
Hi.
Long time no see.
Yeah,
How have you been?
Oh, I'm good. How have you been?
I'm good.
So, first of all, congratulations for your upcoming new album. I'm so excited, but also sad for the same time. At the same time, because the pop funk didn't make it, but it's okay. Yeah, it's okay. Okay, so listening to you explaining about the album and everything. And actually, the easiest question before me is my question. Is originally my question, but it's okay. I have another question for you. So, you say that this album talks about how you feel about, yeah, the time you're writing, like the feelings you felt back then. So, it's during the pandemic. So I'm kind of curious about how did pandemic change you in writing song or producing your music in the process? Is there
Oh,
any
yeah. Good question. I think like I think just generally, not just like writing, not just writing songs, but just generally in life. And the pandemic has forced myself, and I imagine a lot of us, to really think about what do we think is most important in our lives. What is most important? What do we value? And how do we want to live our lives? Because when we see so many lives being taken away so soon, and the tragedy of it, and also life as we know it suddenly being so restricted and so different from how we've been accustomed to it, it throws everything into question. And so for me, when it comes to my work, when it comes to writing music, when it comes to putting an album together, as much as I can, how can I be as intentional as I possibly can be? How can I be sure that whatever effort that I'm putting into something, or whatever sound or lyric or whatever that I'm using, is the best way for me to spend my time, but also get my message across clear? And so I mentioned earlier, but when I was in like a larger label, just because of the way my schedule worked and my traveling and all that, like I would literally fly into LA, have 4 or 5 days, write a lot of songs, like do 2 to 3 sessions a day, and then we'd pick from them and put out an album, which is doable. But is that the right way? Is that the best way? I don't know. And so the pandemic forced me to really kind of say, let's get priorities straight. Let's make sure that we're making time for the intentions to be right. Let's make time so that we can take care of ourselves and be thoughtful. And I think that's kind of had like an overarching effect on music, as well as how I live day to day. But yeah, I hope that answers your question.
Thank you so much for the answer. Can't wait for your album, and please come to Indonesia, please. I think I'm gonna cry too if you come in. And I don't know. I cannot imagine myself being in a concert like for the next couple years, but hopefully.
I know.
Especially
Hopefully.
now.
Yeah.
Hopefully. Listen,
hopefully.
we're gonna do. If I go to Indonesia, I hope to see all of you there. Wherever I am in South Asia, and we will have like a 5-minute cry break where everybody just takes a moment. We all cry together.
Yeah, that's probably
and then we will move on with the concert.
Oh my God, Tiffany, thank you so much for your
Thank you so
question.
much.
And Eric, thank you
Kevin.
so much for walking us through your journey for your, next album, There and Back Again, which will be out this Friday, January 7th on all digital streaming platforms. And a big thank you to everybody, our media friends, for joining us this morning across Southeast Asia. Guys, thank you so much for spending your morning with us. And Eric, any last thoughts and any last words before we let you go?
Yeah, thank you so much for sacrificing an early morning of your time with me. I truly appreciate it. It is the most vain thing for me to sit here and be like, let me tell you about myself. But you sat here through it. You had the thoughtful questions, and I truly appreciate it. I think most importantly, please stay healthy. Please stay safe. I know everybody's going through a very hard time all around the world, and putting out an album seems so trivial in such a difficult time. So I just wanted to send my thoughts and prayers to all of you all over the world. And I hope you love the album. I hope you check it out, and I hope you get to feel the emotions that I felt as I was putting it together. And I hope that I can see you guys in person sometime in the near future, and we can sing together, cry together, laugh together, do all those things. But have a great new year. Thank you so much. And have a great Wednesday, your time.
Wednesday, our time. Again,
Yes.
Eric, thank you so much. Eddie, thank you so much. And all of our media friends, thank you so much. We'll be sending the recording of this press conference shortly, and we'll be sending the press release on Friday, 12 p.m. Jakarta time. So yeah, Eric, have a great night. And everybody
you.
else, have a great day ahead. Bye, guys.
Thank you guys. Have a good
Peace
one.
out.